Okay. All right, great. Just getting everything set up. I have 2 different devices here. Okay. All right. So we'll just give a moment for people to kind of get situated. And so welcome to Community Yoga Narada class. This is just a simple community class. That's, a little under an hour. And we're just trying to release body tension, breathe a little bit easier, release tension that we're holding due to, whatever stress, muscular tension, just tension in the body that builds up over time. It has a lot of qigong type elements and, sort of a combination of so many different things. This is just the beginning format of a class that I teach. And my name is Michele. And so we are finishing up. Last week, I thought it was the end of November, but it wasn't. So our series theme for November is the standing and breathing sequence. So what we'll do is we'll start on the floor, releasing everything, and then we'll come up to standing. And this is the last one. Our theme for December is going to be shoulders. So just to sort of let you know on that. We don't have, Yogi Bell is not in here. So sorry. Maybe she'll pop in. I really don't know. She just kind of does whatever she wants. So we are going to come back and have a seat on the floor. And if you need to refer to doing this sitting in a chair or a stool in October on my YouTube channel, it's archived. I've done that. So, and it's sort of, you can use that as you need when you become familiar. So I'm going to do sitting on the floor, relaxing with the feet here. We want to find a nice placement. You can raise your seat up a little bit, fold it on a mat or a cushion or whatever feels comfortable. You want to feel relaxed in the hips, relaxed in the low back. I'm crossing my feet, but you can take a little diamond shape with your feet. You can bring your feet out, not really wide, but just enough to feel that you're resting into your sits bones. So we're going to take a moment and just find that nice release. We're finding our posture through just a little bit of alignment cueing here. So we're going to use our bone structure to give a sense of alignment while we're getting started, specifically from the pelvis and the base of the spine. So we have our sacrum that sort of fuses or connects us to our pelvis through our legs, right? So we want to find that sense that we all have. If you do a little bit of rocking side to side, just find your sitting bones. So there are those nice heavy bones dropping into the floor when you shift. And sometimes we're a little bit behind them because we're slouching, and sometimes maybe we're pitched forward when we're leaning forward. But we want to just find what we call a plumb line, right? So we want to feel the gravitational pull straight down into the earth. And even that may not be straight, right? So we're not trying to micro-correct here. We want to align with the gravity. And, because Earth is not flat, you never want to be straight because it's not going to work anyway. We want to be malleable and adjustable, and we want to be able to have tools to find balance no matter what happens. And it's kind of fun maybe to challenge that sometimes. And then we're going to just rest in the center. Now, we're going to talk about our long dinosaur tail. So from the very top of the sacrum, almost your low back area, where those bones at the bottom of your lower back start, you're going to think of having a long, dense, heavy tail, like a dinosaur, sweeping down into the floor, and as if it's really long, going through the floor and draping behind you. So that's that feeling we're creating there. We're going to relax the shoulders and just breathe into that release of your breath, dropping down all the way down into the base of your spine, into the base of your pelvis. Feel that your low back and your hips let go into your sits bones, into your tail, Now your shoulders are going to align with that. The shoulder blades plumb line through the sits bones. Now we soften through the chest. We let the jaw and chin relax a little bit. You may feel this slight version of shifting going on in your posture, and that's what you're letting that happen as you align. When your bones are shifting and moving into a certain position, all of the other tissue, the connective tissue and the muscles, it's all going to adjust. So we're sort of using it as a visceral cue here. And then we're just going to breathe, let your eyes close. Take a couple really deep released breaths, letting the breath go, starting to focus on that feeling of your breath inside your body, feeling the breath release down into the base of the spine, into the base of the pelvis, and starting to bring a sense of focus into yourself, letting go of any external thoughts or tensions. So you're just starting to bring a sense of awareness into yourself, figuring out what you want to focus on, what you feel maybe is coming to the surface that you need to focus on. It could be physical or emotional or both, because we are connected, right? And we're going to take the eyes just gently opening, taking your palms together. We're just going to glide forward and back. Now we're breathing and feeling the breath from inside connect into this surface breath through the palms outside. So we're feeling that flow come through the palms. Let your fingers relax and just glide in between. We're building up some nice, you might feel a little bit of heat and friction there. And then we're going to separate the hands and feel that nice little energetic buzz in between your palms. We want to feel that that has breath to it, right? So we're using breath through our hands. We're going to let the breath expand out. So we start to breathe from inside to outside out. And then we're just going to swirl the breath around the room. Feel that you're supported with your movement and you're just exploring and moving in any direction that feels comfortable. But also notice how there's a really nice sense of support. So you're not just flailing your body around, you're moving from an intention, from connecting inside, and you're sort of untangling anything that's holding on externally, and feel that you can really grow into the space around you through your breath. So we want to acknowledge all the space we have to use, up above, down below, around the sides, behind you. And you're sort of filling up a sense of awareness. We're going to take the hands back around, taking the breath, and we're going to draw the energy from the room around the space through our hands and just sense that over the eyes around your face, breathing into it. And then we're just going to gently wash and breathe through the face, releasing that around the face. So we want to feel a sense of calmness and release come over the face as we flush. We're going to take our middle fingers and with a nice exhale and just massage. We're carving from the inside to the outside on the brow bone above the eyes with a nice little lift up into the hairline. So we're going to exhale, breathing out, feeling that release and openness come into that space above the eyes. And one more time, exhale. Now we're going to take our index finger, a little bend, go under the eyes, and just exhale, sweeping. We're again along the bone, along the orbital bone, underneath the eyes, with that little upward sweep towards the hairline. And again, exhale, just relaxing your face, letting that release and openness come through, feeling that, we're washing over the sinuses a little bit here and clearing things out. And then we're going to take our fingertips, just breathing out and scrubbing up and down, moving the skin and flushing the lymph under the skin. And then come around to the outside of the eyes, the temples, very, very light circles, very surfacey. Do not press into this area. Just move gently around the surface. And continue. You're going to come down in between the upper and lower jaw. Relax your jaw. You can poke a little bit more through your fingertips because you can feel it's tighter. The tissue is more tense here. And we really want to kind of dig around where you feel you need to go and just kind of breathe into that, letting that release come through. Maybe a little closer to your ears, maybe a little bit lower, maybe a little bit higher. This is a big tension zone that travels right into your neck. And now we're going to go above the ears, and we're taking this nice little kind of washing the hair motion, lifting up into the scalp above the ears. And then we'll trace around the ears. So we're following the perimeter of the ears and sort of thinking we're lifting any tension or tightness away from the ears, coming around towards the back and feeling that lifting up. Now, as we get to the back of the head, we feel where the bottom of the head and top of the spine meet, the occipital zone. So if you just move your head up and down, there's a nice little crevice there. We're going to find that crevice, and now we go side to side massaging. So we're going to breathe into the hands. Where the hands are touching, you're using a sense of breath to feel connected and aware and more efficient in releasing and opening and sort of coordinating everything. Start close to the spine, then go a little bit out towards your ears and just feeling a sense of openness and space and decompression there. And then come back close to the spine. Now we'll go into a circular motion. So you're just going to take a circular motion, maybe gently relaxing with your head a little bit more and breathing into it, traveling down the back of the neck. So we're starting up high and then traveling along the sides of the spine. We're sort of on our erector muscles here. And you can these are a little bit sort of more harder muscles. So you can feel a little bit stronger in your touch if that feels okay for you. You don't have to. So whatever feels right for you, that's what you're going to do. Now we're going to take our fingertips, almost like little claws. We're going to go over the tops of the shoulders, take a nice exhale. We're going to sweep and breathe out. Shake it off at the end, and then go back again using your breath. We're releasing the tension and tightness from the shoulders and pulling it forward and flicking it off our hands. And then again, going back. Nice exhale, breathing out and releasing. Now we're going to start to use the breath to engage through lifting and stretching a little bit more. So we're using that breath down from the base of the spine and pelvis, right through the center of the body. Interlace your fingers. We're going to lift the arms up from the pelvis, from the breath inside. So just interlace, drop down. Take a moment and try to find a feeling of a connection in your low belly. Imagine a long thread through the center of your body. This is called your midline. It's the line where your spine runs through your body. And you want to breathe through that line to stretch and lengthen, elongate your body. So anything we're doing, whether it's down or up, that's going to be our balance line, right? So we're going to find the breath, find your long tail, breathing down. We're going to yawn through the midline up. And just sort of find that connection, that imaginary straight line through the body. Now your arms might not come forward if your shoulders are tight. Just feel the lift inside, stretching through, and then just sort of wiggle up out of it, releasing through the hips and the lower back, and just kind of getting a little bit more space there. We're going to come back through the center. Let the tail relax. The tail rounds under a little bit, the arms straight down. Relaxing. Now we're going to breathe through the chest cavity. The arms sweep around the side, elbows lifting up. Now breathe through the side of the ribs, in between the ribs, through the front of the chest, through the other side of the ribs. Now softly round forward and breathe through around the back. So we're moving the arms, but we're really breathing through the trunk of the body, up and exhale, over. And just gently opening all of that stuckness that's in between the ribs, in the intercostals, letting the breath, letting the lungs function better, right? So we have that sense of release in the tension so our body can work better around and down. And again, letting the breath in. We take a little pause at the top, then we're going to change. Exhale, over. And forward, around and down. We're going to let the breath in. We make a little window to breathe through the side ribs up. And exhale, over. and forward, around, breathing through the side to come up, and the other side, exhale, and forward, around, letting the breath in, finding your long tail, and then right through that center midline, reach up, lifting from inside your body. So you're stretching by pulling up out of gravity, right? Keep that lift inside, separate, and we're just going to circle through the wrists here as we float the arms down, but feel that nice lift suspending and let your arms hang off of a long spine, and then just relax it. Now from here, we're going to take the feet out, and let's go ahead and just take one foot out at a time. So your right foot and your right hand. Your other hand's going to go back on the floor. We're breathing through that midline again. That's our main intention, right? We're going to initiate through the midline. The midline lifts our arm up. The back palm just helps us go a little bit over that tail, and we relax this arm to hang so we can breathe through the front of the chest into the shoulder. You want to feel that your shoulder blade, your scapula, we're going to take the other side, change the arm and the leg up. So there's a connection that we're moving through in the body, and we're just letting that release come through the limbs. So we have the breath lifting us up, engaging us through our center, and then just letting go. We're finding that sense of dropping through the shoulder blade to let the arm hang for placement, and then release. And again, breath comes in. That back hand gives us a little bit more length over top of the sits bones, and release. And again, back palm going up and over, opening, breathing through the chest, and release. Now from here, again, take both palms up. We're going to circle through our wrists and our ankles, just breathing through them. We're making our way over the legs to hang over the legs onto the floor, and just relax your arms on the floor, relax your head over, and just go wherever you feel most comfortable with your head hanging over. There's a feeling of a lift up and over, right? So we're not just, dropping like dead weight. We're using that breath energy. So the breath lets us release. And then we use the breath to exhale and drop the head. So we're going to exhale, drop the head, use the breath to sort of filter through this release through the spine, breathing out and just dropping a little bit to get a little bit more into that release. Maybe it's through the low back, maybe it's through your neck, just letting the spine unravel. And then just hang and release. Now we're going to sway. The head sways from side to side. And as we sway, we're breathing into the back ribs and the low back. There's a nice little shifting in our hips that starts to happen. We're shifting from one sitting bone to the other, and there's this nice diagonal release through the upper back ribs. There's still a connection through the low belly that's going to now lift up and walk your hip backwards, dragging your leg along the floor. So you're breathing from your low belly into your sacrum. Your sacrum is shifting and moving and breathing, and we're letting that gliding in the hip sockets come through. And that's filtering through into the back, into the shoulders, and then you're going to come forward. So we're going to use our sits bones like little feet. You can bend your knee and drop. You're going to push down to propel over. So don't think about the lifting up side. Think about the pushing down side. Down to go over, and down to go over, and down to go over. And then just relax and hang through center. Let that breath release. Now we're going to let the breath come in as we roll up. The tail goes down through the floor to roll us up. As that tail reaches down, the breath comes in and up along the front of the spine into the front of your body. So as we come up all the way, your tail's longer, 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 longer. The more tail you find when you get up taller, the more openness and ease in your chest and shoulders that comes through. Now, we're going to soften the tail. We're going to use our fists, and we're going to just take a little tiny scoop through the abdomen. We're going into our lumbar, lower back, sacrum area, and we're just breathing and drumming right into the low back sacrum, and just releasing any tension you feel there. We're going to come around to the glutes, the upper and the lower and the sides, whatever feels good for you. And just drum into that, releasing any tension there. Now we're going to work our way up the sides of the spine, breathing up the sides of the spine towards your ribs, towards your kidneys, and just kind of sweeping away any tension or tightness from the spine, and then back down again. We're going to take our fists and just drop into the back sides of the hips, releasing a nice kind of loose hand. We're not trying to hit ourselves. We're trying to release and use momentum through the bones, right? And the breath. Bones and breath, we're thinking a lot more here. And now we're going to alternate. So we come around from the back of the hip, and think of this as releasing any tension from the back of the hip, flushing down through the legs and out through your toes. So we have that nice kind of flow through release happening, and you can take it sort of a different target area each time. We're going to come around to the outside of the legs. Now we have open hands that are kind of floppy, and we're fluffing up around the sides of the legs. Start at your hips here and work down the sides of the legs, the IT bends. There's a nice kind of scooping motion that we're breathing through here, letting the breath come through. We want lots of shaking and moving around. We want the muscles to really release and shake off the bones here. Anything that's holding on, we want that to kind of loosen up so that we don't pull in any contrasting way. And again, let the body work a little bit easier. Now we're going to come down, go back to your fist, go above the knees. So where your quads are, you're kind of loosening up any tension you feel around the knees here. Think of it that way. You're just kind of fluffing, getting some movement going in there. So we're taking all this tapping, which, it feels good and all that, but it's causing a nice vibration into the release. And your nervous system responds right away to any kind of vibration, right? So it's, there's science behind this stuff too. Now we're going to take our fingertips and just tap, dropping into the kneecap, the patella. You want to feel a nice vibration right into the bones. So we are getting into our bone marrow, which is very different. It has movement, okay? So it's like, when you're eating a piece of meat, when you see bone marrow, it doesn't look like that. Now, we're going to tap down the shin bones, closest bone to the surface of the body, all the way down to the ankles. And tapping back up the shins again. Now we're going to lean back, use the heels of the hands, and flush from the hips all the way down to the knees. Again, a little bit more pressure. So you're breathing, relax your thighs, and try to observe on your own body what feels tight, what feels, it feels lumpy because your quadriceps cross, but anything that we're just kind of helping the body, we're going in the direction of our circulation. So we're going around, and your leg is round. Go a little bit to the outside, a little bit to the inside. Come down around the outside of the shins, floppy hands again, fluffing up around the outside of the shins on the peroneals. We're just releasing. These guys don't get stretch very much, really. They're just a stabilizer. So we want to feel that we're letting go of any tension held between the knee and the ankles, which can be quite a lot, right? And then we're going to release out of that. Let the feet come back. Let your knees just gently hang out to the sides. Use the tops of your hands. Go down on the inner thigh. Nice flushing down. So we're getting that release from the hip sockets towards the floor with gravity. Travel down this inner thigh line towards your knees. And then we're going to gently flex through the heels, slightly engaging into our calves, just a little bit. And then we'll take our fist, exhale, drop into your calves. So we're just feeling that nice drop and let go, a nice little shaking off the bone kind of feeling, letting go of any tension or tightness that we're holding on, which in the calves can be quite a lot, right? So we're just going to drop and release. And sometimes it feels better just to do these smaller drops, and just sort of letting go, more of a repetition without the force as much. And then come down lower towards your Achilles, your soleus Achilles area. And then take your hands back behind. We're going to let the feet come out and just give a nice shake out along the floor, releasing through the backs of the knees. Nice little shifting in the hips and the shoulders. We're going to take one knee up, inhale. We start the exhale. We gather through the abdomen as we start to breathe out. Then let the leg go. The breath supports the release. We're going to exhale. And again. And release. And again. So we feel a lengthening through the back of the knee along the floor. We're not trying to push down into the floor through the back of the knee, right? We don't want to cause force behind the knee like that. So we just want to feel a lengthening from your tail through your foot. And then again, from your tail through your foot. Now here, just relax the legs, let the feet hang open, and just start with tiny little bone rotations in and out. You're going to do a little tap and release. And we're just thinking of the bones turning in and out in the hip sockets, just to kind of juice up and loosen the hips a little bit there. It just kind of feels good to use some rotation in the hips. And then from here, we're going to bring our feet in, and we're just going to take a nice little ankle roll around, releasing and breathing into the feet a little bit. And then relaxing the feet on the floor, we're going to massage underneath the ankle bone into the heels, breathing into this inner arch adduction line of the foot. We're just kind of opening and releasing any tension, lots of tendon, ligament attachments going on here. And that groove in our heel on the inside, that holds a lot of tension and feeds right up into the groin area. Now we're going to come underneath and just give a nice mushy massage into the soles of your feet, and just kind of flushing the bones in your feet, your metatarsals. We're thinking of those a little bit here. So those lead through each toe line, and we're just kind of breathing and massaging through that. We're not going to do the whole foot sequence. Maybe February will be feet. Have a lot of good foot stuff. So I'm trying to think of also the seasons, right? Shoulders, feet, those sort of distal points that we tense up when it gets colder. I think it's good to focus, to bring some life to those distal points, and hands, all that stuff. Maybe we'll do feet and hands in February. Now let's come underneath, and we're just going to take our hands and spread the toes wide, keeping space between the toes, and just breathe into that release of space between your toes for a moment. Release your hands. We're not going to do our full walkthrough, but now we're going to come back into your comfortable position, lifting the chest up. Nice breath and massage. We're flushing all of this lymph around the torso and through the trunk, letting the breath in. Feel like a balloon expanding on the inhale. And exhale, release. So you're just kind of flushing, releasing and flushing through. Come down into the front of the hips, this groin area, lots of little lymph nodes there, breathing and flushing through that. Then we're going to come up into the center of the chest, right into the sternum breastplate area, and just take a nice little release of your breath and scrubbing up and down, right? So there's a lot of surprising tension that gets held there. Now we're going to take long sweeps, fingertips sweeping from your chest, from your ribs down into your pelvis. And then we're going to sweep underneath the sides of the ribs, getting a little space and breath there. And then underneath through the other side ribs. And then coming back through center, relaxing the arms, letting them hang. And just taking your opposite hand, we're going to massage into the front of the shoulder here. So another big tension spot. We're going to just breathe, let your head hang over, but let your head move if you like. You don't have to hold it. We're just going to find just a little release, a little breath and release here. So, sometimes we feel like it gets clogged up here, And, our lungs are up there. So we want to kind of flush things through and let a little more space come in. Now let's come around to the other side. Relaxing, focus on the shoulder you want to let go and relax, and breathe into that as you're massaging. Really focus on this part that you're touching and letting go. The back of the shoulder, the scapula, shoulder blade, the bone there, that feels nice and long and heavy, like a wing. Try not to hold tension. You'll feel tension if you're holding it. Get a nice flush and mush around here. And then we're going to come back into center, and then just take a nice drop, exhale, up and over your shoulder. So we're going to breathe out and let your palm just bounce off the top of the shoulder. We get a nice little sense of breath into the upper back, ribs and lungs there. And again, just like the front, our lungs are all the way up there, right? So we want to be able to really use all that space that we have, which could be constricted by function if we hold a lot of tension around it. So we want to just give a nice clear path for breathing and releasing. And maybe even just letting go of the shoulders and the neck is enough to release through the breath a little bit more. You don't even have to focus on your breath on this. Your hand sweeping can help you find your breath if that feels a little bit stuck. And release. Now just relax, let the tail come down. We're going to take a deep breath in. That midline breath brings our arms up again. So we're going to inhale, breath comes in. We're lifting up, suspending. We're almost coming out of our seat. Keep that lift and let the arms go. So we feel the arms hang down off the spine. Let your tail soften. Gather the breath, long tail in and out. Think of that nice imaginary line right through the center and let go. Soften the tail to come around again. Breath comes in. So the breath lifts you up. We suspend, then let go. Now from here, we're going to shake it all out and let the breath guide you. So releasing the upper back ribs are breathing and releasing all the way down through the elbows, the wrists, getting again a nice shake off the bone like we did with our legs. We're going to get that nice fuzzy feeling all the way down into our hands. And then from here, we're going to interlace the fingers and just do a little compression, release, shifting your palms a little bit, breathing into that webbing between the fingers. And then relaxing through the wrists, we're going to just gently glide around in a nice circle. Try to relax your shoulders. Let the momentum guide you here, moving through. And then we're going to reverse it, coming back the other way. And just letting the movement and shifting, there's a lot of support going on here to let go of the tissue. Let the bones flush through a little bit. It doesn't have to be big. Just the letting go part is important to try and find. And then we're going to just release and feel, we're going to breathe through the center of the palms. The palms breathe the fingers open and the palms collect the fingers in. So the palms inhale, the palms exhale, squeeze, inhale. So just sort of moving in and out a little bit there. So we're going to do this filtering breath when we're standing. Let's come around onto our hands and knees. So we're on our hands and knees, and we're just feeling a nice sense. We want to find the midline energy on our hands and knees now. So a strong sense of that midline. We're going to take the right foot back, tuck the toes under, feel your heel release. We want that to lead us. The tail glides the heel back. Breathe through the center. We're not just dropping, but we're lifting inside and breathing as we're stretching and change. We're going to tuck the other toes under, find that nice long breath, releasing through the heel, breathing through the sole of the foot, and come in and change. And toes tuck under, find that very back heel, breathing through the back of the knee, and opening through the front of the hip, and change. And toes tuck under, feel that breath through the midline, gliding your heel back, and come in. Now, if your knees are okay, we're going to lift the heels, tuck the toes under. My heels are a little bit touching. Toes can be apart a little, just for comfort. We're going to come back close to the knees with our hands and push back over your heels. Your knees can go a little bit out. Arms can hang over the knees. You're kind of like a little monkey hanging on the floor. We're going to drop the tail, drop your heels, and just breathe into your feet. Drop your head and just use your hands to shift and breathe into the soles of the feet, letting that release come through. Take your hands really close to your toes. Take a deep breath. Exhale, push on the floor to stretch your legs. And then just hanging over the legs, a nice little shake out, releasing. Find your heels. Feel that your tail, again, the bones align over your heels to hang. And let go. Hold onto your elbows and just feel that you pull your elbows towards the floor a little bit here and find that release of your breath while you're hanging to let go through the hamstrings and the low back, the upper back. As the breath comes in, we're going to lift the stomach. The upper abdomen lifts up to the ceiling. We let go of the arms. The arms are draping. We're breathing in and up along the spine, along that midline. We start to feel that lift through the upper abdomen so that we can roll through our tail, dropping down through the heels. So we're revolving in and up through the front, down and out through the back. And once you get all the way up, you're going to find that long tail drawing down through the floor and back behind you while you feel nice and lifted in and up through the front. So we're just finding that plumb line to stand. We're going to come around onto our feet into the center here. So now here, we're using that, what I just talked about, looping down to lift in and up. We're going to, just like we're going to finish what we started on the floor. So we're going to let the breath in, we're going to expand, and breath comes in to open up. Now, from this low belly, dantian area, we're going to take a long squeezing exhale and compress and release anything that we need to let go of, negative, physical, emotional, all of it. Breath comes in, long exhale. Let the breath coming in expand you up again. Long tail, and we're going to use the breath to cleanse anything we need to release. Letting the breath in. And one more time, exhale, squeezing it out. Letting the breath in. The arms are floating up. This time, as we exhale, we're going to just soften the elbows and knees and float the arms forward, looping down in front of the body. Just a little tiny bend of the knees. Now we're going to go for our sipping breath. We're going to sip through the midline from the base of the spine, lifting up that long internal cord. Sip through the mouth, float the arms through the outside up. Feel your tail draw down as you start to sip up. So the shoulders are nice and light, floating the arms up. And then we take a nice exhale, lifting inside. Letting the breath sip again, in and up through the center. Long tail down and exhale, Suspending that lift as you release through the arms and legs. And again, sipping. Nice and soft in the shoulders. And exhale. Now we're going to round our tail under a little bit. Let your tail gently round under. Fingertips are going to trace the midline breath. We're going to sip and trace up. Light touch through our fingers. Feel the breath open the chest and eyes, open the arms, and exhale. The tail sweeps under to bring the arms around. Find that sipping, gathering in and up again. And breathing open. Sweeping the tail under one more time, arms come around, and sip in and up. And it draws all the way up. And exhale. And tail softens under. Now from here, we're going to come all the way up through center. We're still thinking of that midline. We're going to take a light touch through our middle finger with the left side. The right arm comes around and up. So we're shifting through our center midline. Breath comes in. We're going to shift and exhale, hang. So we feel this side of the ribs breathing through and up. That's what hangs on the other side. As the breath comes in, feel the chest flow the arms around. Letting the breath come in again through center. And we take that lift and shift over. Exhale. Breath comes in. Feeling that the chest revolves the arms around. Breath through center. And shift, exhale. Letting the head go. Breath comes in. Revolving around the chest. And exhale. And breath comes in. As we come through center, we're going to take a deep breath in, gather the arms in, little bend in the knees. Take a nice exhale and push away, opening out. Let the breath float your arms up. Now from here, we're going to take hold of your left wrist, elbows wide. Find that drop in your scapula, your shoulder blades. Now we're just like we did on the floor, we're going to do a nice circle. We lean over, exhale. There's just a little tiny tail curl and knee bend. We're just going to soften the chest, drape the arms around. Find your long tail through the other side. Now we look up, lifting. And again, going over, exhale. And soften the tail to soften the chest. Find that the roots through the legs that bring your chest through and up. One more time, exhale, over. And softening tail through chest. And finding the breath coming in to root through the center up. Breathe through the midline, find that length, release the arms up, around, and down. As the breath comes in, take hold of your other wrist, finding the breath, shoulder blades wide and relaxed. My elbows aren't, I'm not pushing up, just wide out to the side so I can move and massage. And then breathe through the other side. That little tiny softening of the tail to soften the sternum as you circle forward. As the breath comes in, find that length down to come up. And the breath can come in. And again, exhale over. And soft tail, soft chest forward. Breath comes in, make your nice little window. And up. And again, exhale. And forward. And relaxing the shoulders to come around, finding that long tail down to come up. And then just breathing through this length of the tail, opening through the chest, releasing the arms open and out, around and down, letting the arms hang, and then just letting the breath come through the shoulders, feeling that sense of length inside your body. So this is a great way. It's quite challenging, so you might not feel connected very deeply with your breath when you start with this for maybe a few months even. So you can just sort of take it slow. It's a much deeper way to connect and gather yourself and it's a totally new sense of awareness, and you have to build endurance through your breathing. So it's not just like how much can you gather a muscle. It's more organ related. So, and just like anything else, you have to let the strength of that condition and build, and you have to let your whole body sort of reorient with that. So now just take a little bit of a walk. Feel that nice sense of opening in the hips here. We're just shifting through and finding the length down and out behind us, nice and open in the chest and the shoulders. Good. Okay, so yeah, I think that was a really good, again, really simple and really just a beginning of what we do in more depth with this kind of work. But there is so much power in the simplicity of all of this. And it's, just from doing that little bit, you can just feel that sense of life and invigoration in your body without feeling that you're clogged up and tense or that you pulled something too hard. It's actually freeing so that you can go forward and just live your life and do what you need to do with a little more ease. All right, so thank you very much. Same time, same place next week. And next week, we're starting off with shoulders. Any questions or comments, let me know. And otherwise, have a wonderful week, and I'll see you then. Sorry, no bell this week. Have to get her in here next time.